Okay. So I decided to go out to my local nature reserve. I guess. Is it nature reserve? I can't remember. But it's one I've not been to before, and I just kind of wanted to document it, I guess. So I changed the way I hold this. This is path that goes down here. Everything looks so like lush and green. I'm wondering whether or not this will turn out well on tape. I haven't seen any birds yet, but I can hear them. So it'll be interesting to see if there are any around. I think that's the river. Let's go down there. These little game paths, or they're made by people, maybe. Probably a mixture of both animals and people, to be fair. Not sure how popular this spot is. You got lily pads. How serene. Focus in on that one. Let's see. Just see how the focus here. Path leads back up there as well. I think I'll go back here. Oh, sorry. Bleh, can't talk. I'll go back up here and then I'll go down the main path and see where it leads. There's a great big tree here. Don't know how. It looks really old, but it's obviously just been cut up. It's all very, I know. You get to a certain point and every single, nature bit looks very similar. Here's a cool spot. So you have hanging branches and that. Oh look. I'm unsure what flowers these are. But they're beautiful nonetheless. Let's keep going. Ooh. I almost slipped over there. Wouldn't want to slip over and damage my camera. That was out of focus. My dumb ass. I thought I'd chill out here to, I don't know. I think when it comes to like a lot of people who get absorbed into online subcultures, what happens is that your experience, oh shit, your experience of reality becomes somewhat very like internal. It becomes very insular to the community that you are a part of. And it can be very difficult to view anything outside of that, because not only are you part of that community is like part of you. It's like that whole thing where I think Deleuze talks about this in Anti-Oedipus, where like he was talking about like the concept of capitalism and how the concept of it sort of gets flipped on its head. You know, the things that comprise it stop being its foundation, and rather they become the thing. You know, the concept becomes the foundation of them themselves because they rely on it so much. It becomes so entrenched in it. There are a bunch of Normans over there, but it's fine. I think what nature does for me is it forces me out of that sort of thinking, no matter how big or small each thought that gets wrapped up in that sort of thing is, you know. I mean, even just now, like, oh, Normans, you know, instantly I had an association with a sort of concept structure, and my interpretation of them became something that was very internal to me, when actually they're just people enjoying nature. There's a sort of telescoping effect. It telescopes down to whatever you subscribe to. But like the river doesn't really care about niche music, nor do the birds really. They just sort of do their thing without a name, without an identity. Well, do birds have identity? I don't know that, but it seems as though their identity is self-evident to themselves, because they do whatever they instinctually do. They don't have to sort of wrestle with it. And I think maybe that's like why perhaps intellectualism and consciousness is sort of the back current, because, how do you put it, when you pour water into a glass, for example, it flows one way, but then inevitably the limitations of the glass itself forces it to flow another way in the, you know, equal and opposite reaction. I think maybe intellectualism and consciousness is perhaps the backflow of sort of Mushin, I guess, or like no mind kind of vibing that nature tends to do. It just flows along its path, but then inevitably the very transactions within brains, blood, everything else forces you to look back at yourself. I think I'm going to move because I can hear people coming, and I don't want to be that one person who just like takes up the path doing YouTube. I'm not sure how well I'm going to be picked up by the microphone and the camera, but I'm hoping it will be alright. To be honest, I did keep it in my pocket, so I would have expected that. So back to what I was saying about the back current of human consciousness, as opposed to like the motion of nature. Like, Furner actually got me thinking about this quite a bit as well. Like, within nature, there is this like unspoken agreement that all things are going to happen regardless. But obviously, when cognition folds back on itself, you start asking why. And maybe I don't think it's because we weren't supposed to be conscious. I think it's just something that emerged, I guess. And from that point on, you can't really ignore it. Like, once the door of consciousness and perception is open, you can't really shut it again. It's like, how do you put it? When you have like your first psychedelic trip, it's like there's no going back. You know, things are revealed to you, and you can't really ignore it, because it's just, you know, it's like one of those optical illusions where you can't unsee the original image. It's not a intellectual thing, it's sort of burned into your intuition almost. It's like when I look at trees and plants now, I can see sort of the outline of what kind of fractaline formula they are following, if that makes sense, I guess. You start seeing it everywhere, basically. Sorry, there's a bunch of people passing by. Sorry about that. I had to stop recording because a family of people went by and I didn't want to bother them. And there's a fucking plane, dude. I hate planes. I'm wondering whether or not my head is actually in frame. To be honest, I probably shouldn't have recorded here on a Sunday. But oh well. It's nice though. Like, there's a nice amount of sun. It's not oppressive. I was thinking about asking like Sensei Ru, what is it like in like, I mean, it's Lena's from Australia as well. I guess I'll ask both of you what it's like there. Like, is it a horrible oppressive heat, or is it like a nice heat that you get used to? Because like the humidity around here is insane, dude. So obviously it's an island. It rains all the time. I suppose like on the Australian continent, you wouldn't have a wet heat. You'd probably have more of a dry heat. I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist. I'm just wondering whether or not the top of my head has been cut off, like it tends to be when using this camera. So obviously you're like a full meter away, you know. And I'm still wondering whether or not you can actually hear me in the mic. But I guess I'll know once I've looked at the recording on my computer. Like I said, I'm still getting used to this camera. Yeah. I think I'm gonna get up and go.